Yo, what's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a great day so far, and welcome to day 8 of reading 101 essays that will change the way you think. As always, shout out to Brianna West. Let's get right into it. Today's essay is titled, "The Parts of You That Aren't I." Let's pretend for a moment that we pulled apart all your organs and laid them on the table. Feel your heartbeat. Imagine it outside of you. You would not look at your heart and think, that is me. You think, that is my heart. Now feel your breath. Feel it in tandem with your heartbeat. Neither of which you are often conscious of, both of which are in constant motion. You do not say, I am my breath. You say, I am breathing. Think about your liver and your kidneys. Think about your bones and your blood. Think about your legs and your fingers and your hair and your brain. You see them objectively. They're just parts. They're ultimately, mostly, removable and replaceable, and they're all entirely temporary. You don't think of them and see I. You think of them and see things. If you pulled them apart, they'd just be compilations of cells. You don't see them and think, that's me. You think, those are mine. Why is it any different when we compile and attach them? There is a concentration of energy, of heavy presentness in your chest and throat, and maybe a little in your head. It is centered. You don't feel yourself in your legs. You don't have emotions in your arms. It's at the core. In the same space coexist the organs we don't identify with and the energy we do. If we removed the latter, what would be left? What would be there? What exists when you don't? Have you ever sat in that? Have you ever sat with that? Have you ever felt each part of your body and realized the parts are not I? Have you ever felt the presentness that is somehow livened when attached? Have you ever identified the difference between what you call yours and what you call yourself? Knowing who you are is grounding. It gives you a sense of trajectory. But when we assign words and meanings to what we know we like and value and want, we create attachments. When we thrive to become things within the parameters of which we've already accepted, out of that, we create failure. We create suffering over self. We begin to believe that a static idea can represent a dynamic, evolving being. The ways we don't live up to the ideals in our minds become our greatest grievances. I think sometimes we get attached to the structures because we don't like the contents. We're more invested in how we're perceived than who we are, in the idea of what the title means than day-to-day work of the job, in the do you promise to love me forever, than the actual day-to-day loving. This is to say, we're more comforted by ideas of what things are as opposed to what they really are. We like to think of ourselves as bodies because that doesn't leave us with the open-ended what else. But what if the what else isn't the end though, but the beginning? What if awareness of it frees us of so many things, quells so many thoughts, bombs so many aches? What if healing yourself is not fixing an attitude, not changing an opinion, not altering an aesthetic, but shifting a presence, an awareness and energy? In this case, facing the parts does not heal the whole. The only thing that changes you and your life is the awareness of the parts that are not I. It is the whole. It is where you end up. It is where you began. It is the one thing, the only thing, that shifts and raises and facilitates the spark of awareness that made you question the elements of its vessel. I'm not really asking you to consider the theories. I'm just asking whether or not you feel it. This is an interesting one. the parts that aren't I. I feel like the whole labels thing, all we care about is the big things. All we care about is the titles. People don't like the small day-to-day things behind titles. People don't like the small things that make up the whole. All they like is the whole. Like the whole, would you love me forever? People like to hear yes, but people don't want to get to the day-to-day loving. People want that big job title. People want to hit certain marks. People want to hit a 6-figure business, but they're not willing to do the things to get there. I don't know if that's what this was saying, because I don't really know what this is saying. The parts of you that aren't I. What exists when you don't? Have you ever sat in that? Have you ever sat with that? Have you ever felt each part of your body and realized the part's not I? The parts that are not I. I don't know how you process this or the way that you understood this essay, this text today, but the way that got me thinking, the thing that I thought about when I read it is the extravagant big things, the titles of things. That's the thing that mainly stuck out to me, is that people want that manager title, but people don't actually want to do manager duties. People don't actually want to put in the work and get there. People want to help people. People want to be known as a good person, but are they really a good person? They don't want to do good things. You don't want to sacrifice your well-being. You don't want to sacrifice your money, your time for other people, but you want to be known as a good person. You want to be known as this thing, but all you want is the title of it. You just want the whole, not all the parts that make up the whole. Whether it's you want to be that person known to drive that fancy car. Can you be the person to afford that car? You want to drive the car, but are you willing to put in the work, the time, the sacrifice in order to get it? You want all these things that are big title things, but are you willing to sacrifice for it? That's what I really took from this. But it's the parts of you that aren't I. I'd like to hear what you think in the comments about what this text was saying, because everybody interprets it differently. Everybody sees things, hears things, reads things differently than I do, differently than everybody else. And just because you perceive it differently doesn't mean that you're wrong, I'm right, you're right. It's just how it is. It's just what we think, our opinions about things. But I didn't really completely understand this. Maybe I'll have to read it again. Okay, I'm gonna read it again. I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna stop the video. I'm gonna read it again, and I'll get back to you if there is anything to get back to. So after reading it a little bit more, the thing that I'm getting from this essay is, who are you before? Who are you at the beginning without all these experiences that you had, good and bad? Who are you really at the core? Who are you before all the problems, before all the challenges? Because she's saying the only thing that changes you in your life is the awareness of the parts that are not I. And I referring to you, to me, right? The parts that aren't me that I carry around in my life. You don't need to identify with those toxic behaviors that you have, with those flaws and those sins that you deal with. Those parts are not you. Those parts are not I, and that's not something that we need to carry around with us. That's something that we can separate from ourselves. The only thing that changes you in your life is the awareness of the parts that are not I. So awareness of all these things that you have adapted to, all these things that you have been conditioned to believe. It is the whole. It is where you end up. It is where you began. It is the one thing, the only thing that shifts and raises and facilitates the spark of awareness that made you question the elements of its vessel. So it's questioning ourselves. That's basically it. Questioning what parts of myself, the person that I am today, is this really me? What parts of myself do I like? And what parts do I don't? What parts are not actually me? That's what I take from it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm mistaken. I'm just pulling things out of nowhere. I don't know. This one is a tricky one. Maybe she was just trying to make you think. So I'd love to hear what you think about this one in the comments. I'd love to open my perspectives and actually see what she was trying to say, because I don't think I'm right in this one. I don't think so. Okay, this is tomorrow's essay, day 9. 20 signs you're doing better than you think you are. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your night. And I'll see y'all tomorrow for day 9.